let's just say that not building an AI system for yourself that is a curated experience for you, it's like insisting on driving to the library when the internet exists. It might have got you there in the 90s, but it won't get you there now for sure. Also, AI is becoming ubiquitous with work itself. It's not just a tool that you use sometimes. The surface you do work on is becoming very, very much AI. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name's Ja. I'm a 20-year vet and in this AI space doing all the crazy things that everyone else is doing. And I'm here today to talk about AI systems and why you should care about AI systems. An AI system is going to be your curated space to work with AI and help you to get the most bang for your buck. This is the way that you are going to be interfacing with AI and getting the outputs that are better. Be you a software engineer, if you're an accountant, a lawyer, you have things to write. This is going to help you to have a much better experience than just producing things that when everyone looks at it, they kind of say, ooh, that's kind of AI slop. So why should you care about this and why? Also, an AI system compounds. Every prompt, every workflow, every skill you build stays yours and makes the next one much faster. That one, every session starts from zero. You pay full price for the same thinking every single time. This helps you to not just get the most out of AI, but to build systems that actually work for you. And really, it's like a now problem and not a later on problem. If you go to joshshire.com, you can go to joshshire/AI system. If you go to joshshire.com/AI system, you'll see the framework that I created where you can sign up, download this as a PDF, or if you scroll, you'll see the components of the framework that we're dealing with. In this, we have 3 tiers where we're talking about the foundation, the capabilities, and then how to, what I'm calling the power layer. On this page, you'll see you have the ability here to download a PDF, or you can visit the open source project and clone it yourself if you're an engineer. You can also go and use a starter prompt that I wrote for you to just drop into any ChatGPT or any chat window, Gemini, or into Claude, and get this thing to build you your own AI system. In tier 1, we're talking about the foundation of this whole thing. And we're going to start out with discussing input and capture. This is how you talk to AI. It could be via a chat, a CLI, or command line interface. You could use your voice, which is one of my favorite things to do. You actually could use something like WhisperFlow, and you could just talk into AI. It really is kind of like this next level up where there is very little space between you and the AI. And the last part, which we'll get into, but not too much today, it's Slack as an interface for you talking with AI. Imagine having an agent come and be added into a channel that you own that you can ask things to just like you would any other coworker. And it can go and retrieve things for you 24/7, never takes a day off or anything. Actually, pretty cool. One thing to note just about this is that if you put garbage into the agent, you'll notice that you get garbage out. And if you put some quality in there, quality sources, you go and find something on the internet or so that is a research paper as opposed to just asking ChatGPT or Claude for something, you'll notice you get much, much better outputs. Really, just the thing to drive home here is just it's quality in, quality out, or garbage in, and then garbage out. Next phase of what we're talking about is context engineering. Now, it first started off a little while ago as prompt engineering, and prompt engineering had its day. That's when everyone knew to set a role for the agent. You tell it that, hey, you are a world-class writer and with a PhD in English literature, and to help me write emails. Set the role, tell it explicitly what tasks that you want, and you put all of the reference material in there. With context engineering, it's actually grown a lot more to where the reference material and the context window of the first thing that you send to the agent becomes even more important. Now, this one is where you turn your generic just AI into your AI. And what I mean by that is you might have some brand guidelines that are important to your company, and you want to use those to increase the value and increase the quality of the response from your agent. Very important with context engineering. And really, this is where you have the difference between just having a generic AI response and your AI. It's all about context. So that was context engineering. Next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be the memory. Memory, let's think of it like you might have read a book, okay? And in that book, you can't remember that book word for word, but you remember certain parts of it. So memory is that you remember probably the author's name or things about that book, and you'll remember kind of like the little short context about that. That is really what memory is. Memory is the persistent knowledge across sessions. Now, you might have heard someone say an AI that just remembers everything. That's not entirely true. It probably remembers little parts about your sessions or your conversations. And yes, you can write everything down and save everything, but an AI that remembers everything will probably take up more of its context window than it actually has to give. So what it is doing is it's saving just these little parts about that book or something so that it knows to then retrieve that later on. In memory, you might have seen these before, but you'll see a memory MD file has links to important memories that you are making as you are working with AI. You might have created this already, and it might already be available to you, but this is where you're going to store those little rememberable things. Think of it as a notepad and not as just remembering every single book as though you just had immediate access to the full context and contents of that book. In memory, you also have your user preferences. So things that are important about you might be your name or what we're working on in that particular project. The model gets a lot of our attention these days. Whenever a new model comes out, I feel like the internet goes on fire and says that Opus 10.8 came out. It's going to be a ChatGPT 15.7 killer. And that's all just marketing nonsense. The model is the brain of your project. It is the horsepower behind your project, but it is the most replaceable part of your entire system. I like to be model agnostic about all of my AI systems. Some models are good for one thing and some models are good for others. You need to decide which one is best for you and for your case. Some of the models that are out there are, as we know, Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, but they're local models, which are becoming more and more powerful every single day and are worth taking a look at whenever you get to the place where you can start swapping out your models. I will tell you that in my opinion, the brain is the most replaceable part in this whole system, but the system itself is not. Now let's get over to tier 2. Where in tier 2, we're talking about the capabilities of a system. You might have heard of skills in doing your research on AI. Skills are, think of them as reusable capabilities or standard operating procedures or SOP. And then also agents come out in this area. Some skills that I have in my AI system are the morning check-in, something to run my weekly review. I used to hate every weekend. It would take me about 3 hours to run through a weekly review, get all my reporting done. It was just not fun at all. Now with AI and creating that as a skill, I'm able to take that, all of what I know in conducting weekly reviews for years, and then use that as an AI skill. Very, very cool. My recommendation is start with 3 and then grow them over time. With integrations, this one is pretty important. Integrations are usually overlooked until you need them. Now, a good integration would be, I would say, integration with Notion or an integration with Sana, something that can help you to get to an external service and pull that information back into the AI. Now, we use MCP servers, which are really just wrappers for APIs, and then direct API connections to get out to those tools. But this is how you pull external services into the AI. This is how you make the AI system much more powerful. It is where capabilities really start to grow and shine. The integrations that you build, these will connect you to data and your external services. And then lastly, it's knowledge base. Now, knowledge base is the actual library that the AI draws from. And that's an important distinction. The library, and if you think about a physical library, the library is where you house all of the books that you might have in your library. And all those books house all the pages, and they have them all in complete text. Memory, as we were talking about earlier, you wouldn't be expected to know the contents of every single page that's within your library. That's why you have a library. So you can go over to the library and pull things down as you need them. But you can also hold other metadata about projects, like the briefs or any kind of strategic thinking that you've had can be housed fully within your knowledge base. Here, this is where we start to hear terms like vectorization of a knowledge base. So when you get to the place to where your knowledge base grows and you want your AI system to have access to it, you consider vectorization of that knowledge base so that it makes it much easier for the AI to understand and to retrieve the knowledge so that you can get some value from that. Memory is what AI remembers. And now I want to go on to the next layer, which is the power layer. You start to orchestrate your AI. This is where you're starting to have agents that deploy all at once and are coming back to you maybe 30, 40 minutes later with completed tasks. It's very cool to do this, but this is also where you can get into a lot of trouble. It's when AI works autonomously and how a lot of complex work just starts to get done. Some harnesses out there you'll hear are BMAD, GSD. It is the Get Done framework. And then GitHub has a spec kit. The GitHub spec kit is also a harness on this, which helps you to orchestrate multiple agents and to get a lot of work done autonomously over time. Orchestration is really how AI can go from just a chat assistant to a fully functioning engineer. And it is the layer where people start to get the most power out of AI. Second only to the automation layer. Now, the automation layer is, let's take the orchestration layer. You're still there and you're still the conductor of AI, which is cool. And it's fun to be a conductor. We all want to wear the hat or get the baton. But in automation, the orchestra is just running without you. It might have kick-started at 6 a.m. and it started to work and sing all the beautiful music. And then when you come back in at 5 p.m., it's all kind of already been played out and you have some beautiful music to listen to. It's very cool. And it's where AI starts to conduct itself. This is when the system is just really starting to work for you autonomously and deliver just like you had 100 people working for you. You have 100 agents working for you. There are several ways to automate a system. Some tried and true methods have been around for a long time. Cron jobs, for example, people are acting like they're brand new, but they've been around forever. And cron jobs being used with an AI agent especially Claude Code, make it so that you can actually schedule your runs of your skills. And this makes everything much more autonomous. My recommendation for you is to go ahead and start at tier 1 and build from there. If you go over to joshshia.com/AI system, we have a bunch of material there for you to work through and build your own AI system. And if you need some help getting any of this together, I offer office hours, which you can sign up for at joshshia.com. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments below if I've missed anything or if there's anything else that you want me to cover in a future video.